Hello and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast, where we explore WSET education, study tips, and practical advice for wine enthusiasts and professionals. This is episode 2, and as promised, I'm going to talk all about what WSET is and what you can learn from WSET. So they have a lovely website. I'm sure many of you have checked it out already. It's the WSET Global website. Maybe you want to pause this and go check out their website briefly, or you can do it at the end, whichever works for you. But in their own words, they are the world's leading provider of drinks qualifications, including wine, spirits, sake, and beer. This is a British-based non-for-profit. And the history of it's kind of interesting. So it was founded as a charitable trust in 1969. It was created to help the local UK wine trade with their education in wine and spirits. And these are the importers, distributors, retailers, which was a great service to offer to those folks. Then in 1977, they started offering these classes outside of the UK and sort of trickled around to some different countries. And cut to today, they are offered in 70 countries, that's 70, in 15 different languages. And I tell you, when I go to order your exams, they make me click the language that I want the exam in. And I'm always sort of mildly terrified that one day I'm going to click the wrong button and everyone's going to take their level 2 exam in German or something. Anyway, it has not happened yet, thank goodness. But it does give you pause. And it is kind of interesting. 15 different languages. Pretty neat. So they did start with wine and spirits. And used to be that the two were taught together in the same class. They have since separated out the two. So now you have wine level 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is diploma, and spirits level 1, 2, and 3. So they are separate entities. And then they added on sake. Sake has a bit of an interesting history. I believe they started with level 3, and then they added level 1, and now they've added level 2. So now there is level 1, 2, and 3 sake. It's an excellent curriculum, very interesting classes. And then beer. Beer is brand new, and I was pretty excited to be one of the first APPs to offer the beer classes here in North America. We have an excellent beer educator. He's very, very passionate. So that's the 4 different classes that are offered. The diploma level is only available for wine currently. I don't know if one is in the works for spirits, but all the other levels are 1, 2, and 3, but wine has the diploma level as a higher learning level offered. Okay, so I do like to emphasize that although these courses are offered in 70 plus different countries, it is still an English-based, a UK-based curriculum. And I don't know how many of you have taken a class in the UK. So same language, but slightly different way of learning, okay? It's another really great reason why I like students to start with level 1, because you also get your feet wet with the English-based curriculum. The main important document that you need to look at is the specification. For every single course, there is a specification available. It's available whatever APP you're using. We are required to have a link to the specification on our website. It is on the Wine Educate website. It's on the WSET Global website. Do take a look at it. I would print it out, make it a book, do whatever you want to do, but you really need to look over it and come to grips with it. It is not super crucial for level 1. It's more important for level 2. But by the time you get to level 3, it's very important. They used to actually print it out. So when you got your level 3 study pack, you had a nice printed version of the specification. They don't do that anymore. I'm not really sure why, but I would highly recommend you print it out and become very familiar with it. You are tested on what is in the specification. So normally, I think for US-based learning, we have the textbook and we think, right, if it's in the textbook, it's a good chance it could be on the exam. For these courses, there can be material that's talked about in the textbook that is not on the exam. Look to the specification. Whatever is on the specification is what is going to be testable on the exam. So pretty important to kind of keep that on your radar as you work your way through these courses. In 70 countries, so that means it's globally recognized. And why is that important? Why is that relevant? Reasons. First of all, it is developing a common language for wine. Tasting wine and being able to talk about the different aromas and flavors, and then the different components like acidity and tannin and alcohol, and have this sort of common language around it is pretty useful. So if you do a tasting note of a Mosel Riesling and you compare the same tasting note with someone from Australia or Hong Kong who's also tasted the same Mosel Riesling, you'd be more on the same page as to how you talk about the wine, which I think is important and interesting as well. Okay, jobs and internships. This is something you can put on your resume or CV, depending where you are, and it matters, and it's recognized. I have many practical examples of past students who have taken these courses, put it on their resume, and gotten a job or a really cool winery internship because it was recognized. And this can be recognized in other parts of the States. So these are California internships, or in Europe, where it is obviously recognized and part of the curriculum. So it really does give you a bit of a leg up. And recently, I've heard some really fascinating things about certain restaurants requiring their servers to have certain levels before they can work the evening shift. So that's the most profitable shift in a restaurant. So really wanting their servers to have more of a base level knowledge of wine in order to have certain positions. So it can directly affect your bottom line and your paycheck. It's globally recognized. We are learning the fundamentals of wine. So one of my favorite analogies for the WSET is you go to university, say you are a musician, right? You're going to go learn about music. Well, I think before you can go off on the weekends and play jazz, you need to learn your chords and your notes, and maybe you've got to take that classical music course, right? So you're really, the WSET are the fundamentals of the wine business. They're not really going to be talking about orange wines or pet nats and things like that. But those are obviously very interesting wines, very interesting topics, but that's more aligned with playing jazz on the weekends, right? Okay. So what is an APP? I am an APP here with Wine Educate. As I spoke about last week, I got approved to teach these classes. These APPs, or approved program providers, it's like a franchise of the WSET. And if you go to their website, so that's WSET Global, and you look on the top left-hand side, you'll see a little tab, sort of where to study. If you click on it, it pulls up a map and you kind of choose your region. So you choose the North American map if you're in North America, so on and so forth. And you can see little dots, and each dot represents a different APP and a different wine school. So if you go to Louisiana, you'll see my little dot there and click on it, and that's Wine Educate. And it shows all the courses that we currently offer. So we currently offer level 1 through 3 of wine. We offer 1 and 2 for beer, 1 and 2 for spirits. Those are the in-person classes that we offer. We also offer all of those courses online. So I'm going to talk a little bit more next week about taking the classes in person versus online and what may be the best option for you. So thank you so much for listening. Do look at the map, see where the closest dot is to you. I'm a big proponent of taking these classes in person if you can, and I'll tell you all about that next week. Have a great week. See you then. Thanks.